Before we get into today's episode, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the Open Doors, Open Mind YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify and on our other social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook and now TikTok. Links to all will be in the description below. But without further ado, let's watch the episode.
So we're back. What episode are we on?
Is it 40?
I think it is, you know.
I think it's 40.
Oh, look, we got a different fat chicken. What episode are we on?
You can't say that. You have to say, can you find out? And then we carry on talking.
Oh, right,
so
sorry,
in the
yeah.
moment, he's going to have to try and look for what episode we're on.
Yeah, you sprung that on me a little bit.
Yeah, anyway, we've got Alex behind the mic today looking after us, which is very, very
Just
nice.
so everybody knows, Peter's just useless. And
But more importantly, no, never say that about another person. This is a mental health podcast, for goodness sake.
Yeah, but Alex, that
Come
doesn't
on.
help him. Alex needs...
Mind that. So let's get into it because it's not just us two. It's not
No.
just, and then we've got Alex as well. We've actually got a guest in the studio, which is my favourite thing. It's when we get the most views ever.
Yes.
So definitely when we have guests, and not to put any pressure on you at all.
Not at all.
But
No pressure.
would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Of course. So I'm Sarah. I'm a holistic therapist. So I work hands-on with people. So aromatherapy, massage, reflexology. But during COVID times, obviously, I was one of the people that was closed down. I lost my business overnight and I had to diversify it and change how I was working. And I became a lifestyle advisor as well. So now I mix the two together, which is a really lovely blend. And it's through lots of my own learnings about myself, which is obviously why I'm here. The mental health side of it is huge. But we all talk about physical health, mental health, but no one really talks about the emotional stuff. And that's really my sort of speciality, really. I get much more involved in emotional health than the other sides.
We haven't hit that topic yet. This should be good. We'll see if we can get you in tears. Should we get a bit-
Yeah, but it doesn't take me much, to be honest. I'm a bit of a crier. One of the questions I want to ask before we get kind of into it, COVID affected so many different people around the world, and affected so many businesses, and people did really well, and people, had to shut down everything they were doing, and then they built towards,
Yep.
especially if they own their business themselves. And, how was your mental health when that stopped?
Well, I'd gone through a bit of a transition anyway, because I previously was working alongside my massage business. I was working with another company selling products. And I decided in December 19, it was a really good idea to drop the products and focus on hands-on treatments. And had my best 3 months ever, and then obviously got shut down. So that was it. So over 3 months, I'd lost 2 income streams, gone. And my first thought was, well, hey, I've got a holiday. This is fantastic.
I think that's how everyone
The
thought.
weather was great.
Yeah,
We were
it was
outside
good.
in the garden. The kids were home. Like, everything was brilliant. And then 6 weeks on, I started thinking, oh, God, I haven't got a business anymore. What am I going to do now? So I basically looked for other people in the same position. And I went online like most people were. And I found some support groups. I found some therapist support groups. And there are lots of them. And we were all collaborating together. And out of that has evolved another part of my business now, with one of the girls that I met through those support groups.
That sounds amazing. Do you know what's quite funny about that? I don't think that any man would do that.
What do you mean?
I don't think that they would have gone out and found support groups and stuff like that. I think it's such a women-centric kind of thing to kind of look out for
Agree.
help. Men go to saying, I'll do it by myself. And I just, you might be saying this, but you have gone through stuff. But I think the everyday man that hasn't gone through anything is not reaching out for help.
Yeah. Because
I
we
feel-
had support. That's what I created in my garden, wasn't it? The
Yeah, of
support
course.
thing for the...
But you had been through stuff. But if you'd
Yeah.
never, and this is the first account, you went straight out. You looked for help. You could have had a couple of down days enjoying the sun,
Oh,
though.
I had a lot of down days, no doubt about that. And I've struggled with mental health. I had postnatal depression years ago. So I knew the signs as well, which I think is really important. I think once you start recognising the signs, you have the strategies and you can take action to deal with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much, that's the one thing that I've learned with, obviously you obviously gone through it.
Yeah.
I've got me, what I always say, my tools in my toolbox.
That's exactly what I said, yeah.
And it is, so in the politest way though, but just one question though, because I only thought the original lockdown was supposed to be for 6 weeks.
Oh no, I absolutely was convinced we were in for a year at least.
You thought that as well?
Yeah,
See,
I
didn't.
absolutely thought we were. And I had lots of heated discussions with my husband with him. So he was in complete denial. He was working from home already. It did not affect him at all, apart from the fact he had 3 people at home who were having a ball and he was upstairs working still. And he's
Yep.
like, how's everyone else having a holiday? This isn't fair. So we were like going through this whole thing. Yeah, but we're enforced. We can't go anywhere. And he's like, well, I'm still working, so suck it up. So yeah, I think it's just different for everybody, isn't it? It's just like that whole.
Well, normally if it doesn't affect you, you seem not to care as much. But if it does affect you, you care loads. And so it's really unbalanced because you cannot be centralist in this because you're like, well, but for me, it's really hard because I've got to watch you work all the time. And then for you, you're like, well, I'm actually just enjoying watching Homes Under the Hammer for the 4th time. You know?
And then you go through that whole cycle of like, yeah, I've dealt with this and I'm working, I'm enjoying having a nice time, but actually life isn't fulfilled and I'm not doing what I should be doing and I'm not working and I'm not contributing and all of those things that then come into it. So you have this whole other conversation going on in your head, the little monkeys that are talking to you, and you're just like pushing them away. And then you do get to a point of going, I need to change something.
Yeah, it comes too much for me. It really did, to the point of... to the one point, I've said watch Peaky Blinders and that before, it was giving me anxiety. It was triggering me. It was like as if... I don't know, you're kind of in a bubble when you're in that 4 walls and you can only go out for X amount of time a day, or it was just, it was horrible for me.
And I think one of the things, we were talking about this before, that I used to be someone who never exercised. It wasn't in my vocabulary. I hated sport at school. It just wasn't there. And something had happened about 6 years ago now, and I realised I had to start taking action and I had to exercise. So I started going to a gym. But rather than just going to a gym, I ended up going to one that was like almost like a CrossFit type gym and threw myself into it and became obsessed with it and was just like there the whole time. But again, that was another thing that was taken away with COVID. And it was like, but it became almost my salvation because I'd done enough of it before COVID. I set something up at home. I made it a part of my daily routine that I still was doing exercise. I took advantage of the hour out every day that apparently now wasn't even an official hour out every day. Who knows what that was about? And eventually when we then got to the point of being able to be released, I got together with a couple of friends and we set up our own little gym outside. And so we started that collaboration again. And for all 3 of us, I think we would have completely lost it if we hadn't have done that.
Yeah,
I like that you reached out, which is quite nice. Can we get into some of the stuff? Because I can imagine there's skeptics about the work that you do and stuff like that. But I was speaking to some friends about it today, and they were like, I don't know if I believe in it, but I like it.
Good.
And I felt like that's a nice way. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It sounds really stupid,
Yeah.
but if you're bringing people to it who kind of go, I don't know, and then you could show them the other way, or you can heal them in different ways that they never thought, they've had an ache and pain, or they were thinking the kind of way, and you were just helping them. That's a great thing. Because I think people just come into it a bit skeptical.
Most people do.
Yeah.
I qualified in aromatherapy in 96. And was very much thought of as a witch doctor at the time. Everyone was like, what are you doing now? Like, what are you getting involved in? But essential oils were mind-blowing to me, to what they could do in terms of relaxation. And then once you get to know more about them, where they can help with like aches and pains and certain conditions and headaches, and just the list is just endless. But one of the things that, particularly about holistic therapies, is we don't cure. We look for what's causing some of those issues. We can support you through different situations, but ultimately I don't work as an alternative therapist. I work as a complementary therapist, so I'm very much an advocate of normal medicine. There's a time and a place for it. There's a time and a place for antidepressants, but there are also other ways that you can work with things as well.
Adding more tools to your toolbox.
The tools are huge. There's so many options. As far as reflexology, it's got a lot of history. You can see hieroglyphics, Egyptian hieroglyphics, where they're actually doing reflexology on each other. So, and no one has quite ever worked out how you've got images in China and images in Mexico and in Egypt, all from different periods, where those people would never have connected, but they're doing the same things.
I'm watching a lot of stuff like that on YouTube. I'm sort of down a rabbit hole.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's brilliant. And we've done with modern reflexology is in the last century, it started coming back into full force, and people started using it for other things. So it's used for pregnancy to help with labour. It's used for infertility work. It's used for menopause, which is obviously a big thing at the moment. Lots of people talking about that. So it has so many uses. And I always say to people who are skeptical, try it. You might not like it, and that's okay.
But at least you tried it.
You've tried it, and then you can have an opinion on it because you've experienced it. The thing that really bothers me is when people have an opinion on something and they don't actually know. It's just an opinion.
By the way, isn't that everyone?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's sort of.
Everyone.
I think it's called Twitter.
I haven't. I had like acupuncture and stuff like that because I had a bad back. But I haven't. But at the same time, I love coming home, and this probably says a lot about me. But I love coming home, putting on some music, lighting some candles, having diffusers on and stuff like that, and just that's kind of a relaxing state because I think a lot of it is mindset. Yeah, isn't it really? Because if they come to you and they're stressed, and you can, I guess, in some sort of format, distract them from their day-to-day stresses and lives, and you can kind of be calm and give them ideas, massage, oils, smells, senses. Yeah. It's definitely going to change things.
There's always lots of debate about how essential oils, for example, work, whether they work on a chemical basis, working in your brain and the limbic system, and they actually have a chemical process, or whether it's by suggestion.
So, because isn't there science behind like lavender and stuff like that?
There is.
That actually does.
And there is science behind things like frankincense to lower blood pressure.
Because no one would put lavender in. Hang on, without being rude, Johnson & Johnson's wouldn't be putting lavender in baby oil in baby baths to put them to sleep if they didn't know it worked.
I think there are calming elements to smells, and I think like lavender is one of them.
As well. Yeah. So if somebody comes to me having a massage, and I might pick some oils that actually aren't considered as necessarily relaxing, but they have a relaxing experience, for them that smell will always be associated with a relaxing experience. Same, it's why shops pump their latest perfumes through the air vents, because they want to attract you in, and that's what you associate with that particular brand.
Hotels do it as well.
Hotels do it. It's why supermarkets pump bakery through, because they're attracting you through. They want to come in and go, come and buy the bread, come and buy the donuts.
I mean, they don't have to attract me for that. I'm in there anyway. Love a bakery.
It's very similar to what I do. So obviously when I'm doing the PT side of it, I get them to pick a song. So as you're doing the exercise, obviously the endorphins and obviously the memory of it, eventually if they can't exercise, it's to listen to the song and it will release the endorphins. So
that's really good.
Yeah, that's kind of the other
music way. For me is huge. Music is my switch off, and live music is my switch off. I love to go to gigs.
Do you know what? I was waiting for you. I thought
front
you
row, and you know what I mean. It's just
I am front row barrier every time.
You can see it, right?
Every word.
So obviously, with what you're doing since lockdown, because this is we have had Leon. Do you remember we had Lee? She didn't before lockdown. She didn't do anything with children. Since then, obviously, there's a lot more children that have, I suppose, need more help.
Well, they're focusing in a lot. One of the funny things about human beings is that we are not really meant to see our reflection. It sounds a weird thing, right? We're not really meant to know what we look like. The main reason why we can see reflection is because we could look into water. But now we have mirrors and phones and blah, 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 and cameras, and we're looking at what we look like all the time. And I guarantee when we look at a photograph of stuff, we spoke about this before, these kids are pointing out every single imperfection that they hear about themselves. So when you come along and something like this comes along for kids, and it's so important that you might be distracting. They can put things down. They're not hating everything about themselves, because also when you're a teenager, you're growing into something completely different. Your body's changing. So, but you're all right. I love the fact that people are now not just focusing on adults, because actually, if you do it from younger,
there's a lot of adults walking around with anxieties and stresses that they're carrying with them from childhood that have never been dealt with. And if we can nip it in the bud before they get to that point, and to help people have, again, the tools to be able to deal with stresses, because it's going to happen. You're going to have days when it's not great. Things are going to happen in life, and that is life. But to have those tools to then be able to walk forward rather than looking back all the time is really important.
See that. So like what I found, the more excuse me, the more I was highly strung was probably the way to put it, when obviously with my PTSD, it is actually being passed. It sounds really weird. I could see, since I'm a lot calmer, the more I've gone along my journey, especially with my son that lives with me, the more chilled I am, but even he's cottoned on to, yeah, Dad, you need to go gym. You'll get in snappy, you'll get in, they're picking up telltale signs now that because they have experienced it with me, but I was passing my anxiety onto them. I don't know how I did it.
Because you're their strength. You're the person they look to. If they see it, they be it. That's the thing, is it makes no difference. If you're into surfing, they'll probably be into surfing. If you're into piercing, they'll probably be into piercing. If you're into depression, you're probably into depression.
Yeah.
You know, it's these things. And you have to make sure that, especially for kids, right? They're just sponges. You know, there's how many kids?
Got 2.
Exactly. They're just sponges, and they watch and they see not only what you're doing, but they also watch what they can get away with, because they're their own character, because they are part you, but they're also part all the other DNA of every single family member of you and your partners. Yeah. You know, they come out hot out of that box. Literally, they're like personality. You're like, you're literally 3 days old and I can see your personality.
Yeah, because I've got 4, obviously, and each one of them, and it's like, how did you? You've got the same mum and dad.
Yep. Same upbringing.
Same.
Makes no difference.
And it's like, how they're all so they're
different.
very similar, but so different.
Oh, we're all similar. It's only the edges. If you put your hands over the top, most of the coverage is exactly the same. But the difference is like the overhang of the fingers. That's all the differences.
Yeah, but with my kids, right? Each one of them handles situations. So, like, if I went to Sadie with what you do, my daughter would be all over it. The smells, and I find women are more open to stuff like that, where men are still like, oh, I can't.
It's quite interesting because I treat men as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've had certain things done in the past because of like my feet, which obviously was connected. Was it something, a certain part of my foot that she was massaging actually released my hip.
Yep.
And it's different. That took me a while to work out. Hang on a minute, because it wasn't till I went to the wellbeing centre.
Yes.
And they told me, I said, no, just because your shoulder's bad, it's not that's what's causing it. It was the elbow. Then I remembered obviously what had happened before. So having certain points pushed and massage actually released other parts of my body.
Also, that's thought pattern as well. So even though it is doing that, you thinking it is doing that as well also helps towards those things.
Well, it ain't worked
It's
with the
mindset.
lottery yet.
But what are you doing?
I'm thinking I've won it. I've been doing this since I was 16. I'm 42 this year.
Alex, in this time, can you find out the chances of winning the lottery? Thank you very much. Because I got to tell you, everyone else is thinking the same.
Hang on, well, just I know I've run with different. Don't you work for a lottery company?
Yes.
I just wanted to point that out, mate. So why should I sign up with Postcode Lottery again?
Because my thinking about this, and this is about anything, but especially with our lottery, if your neighbour wins 30, 100, 300,000 pounds, right, and for the simple reason you don't win that because you're not playing, if you're not bothered, don't play. But if you're bothered, play. That's all it comes down to. It doesn't work the same for other lotteries. But if you're not bothered, like people are like, I don't know, they play. It's not really my thing. I'm not really into lotteries, so I don't really believe in that. That's fine. Don't play. But if you're like, oh, well, I could play, couldn't I? I should have signed up. Well, I see people every day saying that to me. And
Especially when the ones when you're pulling out the thing next door to them.
It's what, and then we get them walking down the street going, "Yay! Someone's knocking on your door," and literally all the rest of the neighbours that are not playing are like,
That was 260,000.
yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
Crazy.
sorry. Oh no,
There you go. We're not.
I know we jumped off.
We're not supported by FaceGood. That's right. Alex, what's the percentage?
The odds on winning the national lottery are 1 in 45,057,474.
I'm going to tell you, there's 63 million people in this country, and I'm not even including children, so people who can play the national lottery. So there are literally more people.
I just
It's about the same as winning.
That's
So,
all I wanted to know.
but why? We speak about this a lot, and this is probably going off tangent because I want to take it right back to you, Sarah. But like the problem about just wanting to win the lottery, I don't know if that is good for people. Like that amount of money. That's why I like Postcode. Sorry, because it's not like loads.
Right, for a start,
Go on, Sarah. What do you think about this? Just want to win a lottery, didn't you?
Well,
Does
I'd
it make
love
you
to-
happy?
I would love to win the lottery, but I don't do it very often.
Yeah.
And I tend to only do it when there's a really big chunky prize.
Well, do you know why there's a really big chunky prize?
Yeah, because more people are getting involved.
Because more people get involved. Because you hear, all you have to do.
There's even less chance of winning. I get that.
It also says estimated. So
Yeah.
that just saying the word next to it means estimated £100 million. So that's by just saying that number makes more people than normally would play, and that's why the prize is bigger. Not that the prize is bigger. There could be rollovers and stuff like that, of course, but the reason why it's bigger is because you see that big number and you're like, oh, I'll play then. When normally 9 out of 10 you won't.
I literally, if I walk into the shop to not buy cigarettes, and the little counter thing, and it says Euro Millions. If it's anything below 20 million, I ain't interested.
Bit the same.
But I'd be happy with 100k.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But you won't play it. I don't know. Anyway, getting back to our subject. Sorry about that.
That's what we do on this podcast. We're all over the
That's
place.
good.
It's fun. Okay, can you run us through like one of your therapy routines that you do? You can make it kind of complex or generic as you want to, but like if someone comes to you, what are they going to expect?
So, first visit, they will have already completed an online consultation form to give me some background of what's going on and why they think they're coming. 9 times out of 10, the reason they're coming isn't the real reason they're coming. There'll be something else underlying that maybe they don't want to express or they haven't even considered yet. So they might come with a backache, or they might come thinking they just need some relaxation and an hour out, just want some pampering. But then once you start talking to them, then other things start evolving and come out in the conversation. So they get the consultation form, and they'll come in. My treatment time, the actual treatment time of me hands-on is about an hour. Invariably, most people will be with me for their first treatment, an hour and a half, sometimes even 2 hours, because I let people talk. And the biggest thing that most people come to me saying is, love the treatments, but God, I was so happy to be able to get that off my shoulders, or I just needed to tell somebody that this week. I have one particular client who, to be honest, both of us know she probably doesn't really need reflexology, but she does need some time out of her busy life. And that's what she uses me for. So she has a good half an hour of chatting beforehand. She'll let me know all of what's happened in her life for the last week. And there's a lot going on. She'll have a hands-on reflexology treatment, which is basically the person is lying on the couch. I cleanse the feet beforehand because there's a process of cleansing with Japanese, sort of Chinese medicine. So it's just a foot cleanse. And then they start with consultation. They have a hands-on massage onto the feet. And I'm just trying to feel what's going on. I feel different textures and I feel different sensations. So some people will have really hard areas of skin where their body's protecting them. So you said before about you have somebody press something on your foot and it sorted your hip.
Yep.
So the way reflexology works is like a little map. So the big toe, we call it the great toe. The big toe is all to do with your headspace. Then working down through the foot, down to the heels, that's where we'll be looking at your hips. And then everything else in between, all the different parts on the foot relates with different organs in the body. So I start looking for where people have got issues. Obviously in the consultation, some people are going to tell me some things. They're going to tell me they've got a shoulder pain, or they're working at the gym a lot and they've got aches and pains there. Sometimes they don't tell me. Sometimes they don't remember. It's amazing how many people come into a consultation and actually forget even that they're taking any medication. And it's not until you question them later after the treatment and they go, oh, but I've been taking that for 10 years. I don't really count that.
Yeah, because it's not all day-to-day
Because
life.
it's normal for them. It's not a new thing. So as I say, I'm looking for changes. I'm looking for, sometimes I have what we call crystals, so you can find little bumps on a certain point. A really good place for me to see how assessing somebody. It's right in the centre of the foot. You've got it in the centre of your palm as well. It's a point for the solar plexus. It's where we hold emotion. And the most stressed people will have a really hard part there. The least stressed people will be so soft that when I press my thumb into it, my thumb almost disappears into the foot.
I need that bit.
Do you reckon yours is? Are you hard or soft? So
Yeah, let's get back to your...
I want to know on your foot. Come on. Where do you reckon? Do you reckon it's
mine will be solid.
Will it?
Yeah.
Then mine would be like, you literally lose your hand, I think. I don't think I'm stressed. There's elements that do you reckon? I nearly just fell off my chair. Do you reckon I'm stressed?
It all depends how many cups of tea you've had, Mr. British.
Yeah. He's taking a bit. Do you drink tea or coffee? What did you go for?
Pretty much both, to be
Both?
honest. It depends on how I'm feeling.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a tea man. Easy.
See, there's an ongoing thing.
Okay.
Right, with him. Right. Look.
The funny thing about
It's
this...
just very British. The world could be going bang. Let's have a cup of tea.
I get that.
True. And it's when was it last? Yeah,
do you
last
do
podcast.
anything better stressed?
Right.
No.
Hang on. So obviously you said however it comes. Oh no, not Daniel. He gets his little pot out, brews his tea.
But the thing is, that's a ritual. And there's lots of things that I talk about with clients about rituals and having certain ways of doing things. So the whole tea ritual is a big thing in how you prepare your tea, how you steep it, how you then present it. And if you can make that as part of your life, rather than just popping the kettle on, pouring water out of a tea bag, if you actually make it as a ritual, it becomes a completely different experience.
That's my breakfast. That's what I do for breakfast. I get up and make the bed.
How would you
Make
manage
it
to
look
come on here and
perfect.
find somebody that would?
A high five her. Because all he does is take the mick out of me. It's fine. And it's the thing, so I'm strange. But that, you got to find your processes, which is.
So that is your ritual then, basically. How you?
Yeah, it's part of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Did
yeah.
you brew it for X amount of time then?
Not really. I have like certain kind of music on, and yeah, and then sort of like put tea bags into a little pot, and then just wait and put my milk in a little jug.
That's also a form of meditation. People that say they can't meditate.
Oh,
Doing
really?
it, if you're doing something like that, it's a form of meditation because it's a way you're switching your brain into a different wave pattern. Meditation doesn't have to be sitting cross-legs.
Yeah, no, I've tried that bit.
It
Yeah.
doesn't work for most people. I mean, I had a client who got really angry with meditation. And if she heard anybody talking on a meditation tape, she'd just be like, what do they know? They don't know my stresses. And it would wind her up even more.
Yep.
So she had to look at different ways of meditating to switch her brain
So
down.
for me, playing strategy games to when I'm having.
It's your time out. Your time outing.
So I suppose.
It's rest.
That's why
Yeah,
people watch Love
if my
Island.
brain's
and
going
I'm a
into one
Celebrity.
direction, I will go on a strategy game
Mm-hmm.
where I have to focus in order to either even complete the game or move it along, and it just switches the world off.
Yeah, instead of screaming and shouting, I just go and play FIFA. It just allows me to kind of just relax. We have this thing about kids playing computer games all the time, and they probably are addicted. But I also feel like kids are very stressed out in this time. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like sometimes they actually need those things to escape. And those things, YouTube videos and TikTok and all that stuff like that, is escaping and also then sometimes creating, because sometimes it goes on to creating things you don't know what that means for your child. That if your child does really well on social media and then they earn like 50k a year, you'd be like, oh, well done. But beforehand, you'd be like, get off that. It's really different. It's a balance, isn't it? About
There is, and it's how you use social media and what you do with it that's important, and what you're looking at, what you're reading. I've got 2 kids. They're not kids, they're adults. And one of them, she's in her early 20s, and has already said, if I have children, I'm not letting them have social media.
I still feel like that's still wrong, though.
Yeah, and
'Cause you have to have both.
I do laugh and just
Yeah.
go, don't think that's really going to happen.
Watch to see what happens. That you have to entertain them all the time, because I guarantee you won't want to.
But there's also a thing of like, it's partly because she's seen the impact on friends and the mental health impact on friends, and she's seen the effects that it's had.
I've seen the most loneliest people find communities because of social media.
Absolutely.
So it's very difficult.
It's really difficult to manage, and I talk to a lot of people. I love social media, and I think it's got a really good place.
In the brightest way, I've never
a lot of research.
had negative. We've had this conversation before. I've never had. Yes, I have, but it's like, what's that saying? Sticks and. Honestly, I don't know if it's just because. Oh, I know. Yes, you'll say Peaky Blinders set me off and I had an anxiety attack. Okay, but social media, I'm like, really?
But it's not social media. It's one comment that can get under your skin. It's not in the sense of a platform or anything like that. It's just you put yourself out there. We could do this podcast now, and someone can write something in the comments. Feel free, go and do it. Right? You can write something in the comments, and it just gets you.
And I think you have to remember, if somebody's writing comments like that are hurtful, actually it's the place they're coming from, not your place.
Yeah, that's exactly how I would have took that. It's because you feel like that. You're just paying.
Yeah, but that's hard. If you're seeing that constantly and you're getting drawn into it, it's hard to manage once you get drawn into it.
Oh, it's at school. You know what you can't
Kids
get
are
away
horrible.
from. Mate, they always say kids are innocent. I was like, mate, have you seen
They
them
are
in playground,
so
how they
not.
talk to each other? It's terrible.
But that's no different to how they would have talked to each other before.
No.
It's just now they have a different platform as well to
Yeah.
add to it. Kids have always been horrible to each other.
I was about to say, it's nothing.
School is like the
Yeah.
worst place for like kids sometimes, isn't it? I feel like, oh my God. Unless you find it really, really easy, then majority of people, I ask this question. I go to schools and colleges and stuff, and I ask this question about put your hand up if you've ever been bullied. And you should see the whole class, right? The whole class got their hand up. Everyone's got their hand up. Maybe like if 2 or 3 haven't. I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, oh, put your hand up if you've ever bullied anyone. And like literally no one, maybe 1 or 2 very brave
So they're all being
people.
bullied by who then?
Yeah, I asked this question, and then I go, oh, wait, one second. I didn't actually finish the question. I said, put your hand up if you've ever bullied anyone, including brothers and sisters. And then they put their hands up. They already literally glossed over the fact that they're absolutely horrible to people in their own household. They just meant school. And they were so quick to say they are victims, but not to say that actually the ones who are perpetrators and the ones actually doing the bullying in somewhere else. And it's difficult. So I've said that I don't think any teacher, any parent, anyone can stop bullying, right? Apart from you. Now, I can't stop you getting bullied and I can't stop you getting bullied. But if you choose not to bully anyone because you're getting bullied, then the person you would have bullied won't bully anyone because you didn't bully them. And that person, it's breaking the chain. I cannot stop you from getting bullied. But for them, they are stopping and breaking the chain to stop it go through. There'll be little bits that go through. But if you get bullied, normally you go and bully. Yeah. Always.
I think it's a natural thing, though, isn't it?
It's a natural thing. It's a bit like you said about the example you set to your children.
Yeah.
It's a natural thing that you replicate the behaviour that somebody else has inflicted on you or that you've been witness to.
Pretty much. Yeah.
We just repeat. We rinse and repeat everything.
But I also
We're not original.
I also think we also need trauma, because there's another word that I came up with, thinking about today, is that I was thinking, do you reckon we have lost a bit of resilience?
Definitely.
Because I don't know what your upbringing was, but and working in businesses, and if you hired an 18-year-old now to work in your company, or you hired a 38-year-old to work in your company, the difference of that situation of the emotional you're going to be getting is quite extreme.
Yeah, I mean, I find it quite a tricky subject, only because I've got 2 kids who are extremely resilient and who, when you talk about people that inspire you, they inspire me from what they've done in their lives and what they're doing in their lives. And I hear conversations about people about talking about young people and especially teenagers being very, very hypercritical of them. And that does drive me a bit nuts because they tar everyone with the same brush.
Correct.
And on the whole,
unfortunately, it is a majority though. That's what they're doing. They're not tarring people with their brush. This is majority of kids are actually, I think.
I think for me, it's a little bit like.
You don't think they're entitled? You don't think we live in the best
They're more
time
than
that
entitled.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of people like that. But it's a little bit like we've got this self-perpetuating message going on all the time, and it's a little bit like teachers going on strike, for example. They can't recruit teachers. Since I was at school, teachers have been going on the strike and saying how a hard life they've got and how tough things are and how hard they work. Who's going to go into that profession if that's the messaging that everyone's getting?
Well, same as nursing, same as...
Right, exactly. So eventually we're going to run out of teachers,
So you're going to run out of teachers because no one's going to want to be a teacher because you've been telling us how rubbish it is.
Well, no one wants to be a police officer right now.
No one wants to be a police officer. No one wants to be a nurse because they're constantly being given this message. So if we keep giving the message that kids are not resilient, not able to do things, haven't got any self-esteem, they're going to go, yeah, it's fine. Live with that.
It is
we
hard.
need to start building them up more and actually giving them some respect, because when people give respect to each other, respect grows.
Correct.
And it evolves and people look after each other much more.
100%. And I think that a lot of I hear this a lot, and it was probably more from our time. You know, that teachers would sort of say to someone, you'll never amount to anything.
I was told that.
Yeah. Isn't it the funniest thing? Do you reckon they're told that now? Do you reckon it still happens?
the teacher would get sacked.
No, I don't know. I feel like there
are still some teachers
I still
out
feel
there.
like there are teachers.
I guarantee you there's so many woke parents out there, right, that would go, oh, you've said to my young Johnny can't amount to nothing.
Why are they posh?
Because I'm just thinking of your kids. But no, in a brighter sense, look, if my son's done wrong, but if the teacher said that, well, mate, rather than take that as a negative, go and fucking prove him wrong, innit? Mm-hmm. Take it as, well, fuck you then. You've just now given me strength to go and do the... But that's exactly... Like, I had when I was at, obviously, Phil Green, I had certain teachers, like Miss Johnson, see the complete worth in me. She backed me, where I had other teachers just wipe their hands of me.
Because she knew what she could get out of you by backing you. That's all it's about. I taught for
But
so
she
long.
said I would, and I know it's very saying, I was told, you'll never amount to anything. And I'm like, yeah, mate, I've had more money than you and lost it. All right, I didn't learn I didn't go to that class to keep the bit. I learned that. But what I'm trying to say is, in the sense of, I left school not being able to read and write. I left not with no GCSEs, nothing.
Could you cook?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So obviously, there was life skills that I had, what I call streetwise, that I had that basically projected in. So like, what's the famous thing I've always said? I didn't need GCSEs because I hired people with them, or A-levels.
Yeah. Well,
So I ended up with 50 A-levels because I hired them.
because you hired them in.
Yeah. So I didn't need, but that's not why every kid, but what I'm trying to say is resilience. I learned by having to be on the bottom and tough times that I had. Well, the teacher didn't want to help me. Well, I'm going to go out and sell cigarettes and bits and pieces and drinks. So I found
I'm glad
another
you
way.
said cigarettes then. That's just a bit worried. I was like, oh.
No, obviously back in the school, obviously was what, pound a fag and
Yeah,
obviously
yeah,
a bit of
yeah.
space about. But what I'm trying to say is I found a way around. The tough time created me, like even now, like my son's like, that's not possible. I wouldn't have sent you to do it if it wasn't possible, mate. Yeah, but no, it won't come off. Right, so
But even
figure
learning-
it out.
but
So,
even
but I won't
learning
let him
through
go. I
failures.
won't let him walk away with it. No, in the sense of he thinks it's just because he uses a word. But it didn't happen on day one. You'll keep going, all right?
Don't talk to me about learning through failures. When my kids first started primary school, I didn't know many of the other parents. They didn't go to school here. They went elsewhere, and
You're telling me parents are not friendly in the playground?
don't even go down playground politics. That's a whole nother
Mate,
topic.
well, there's a
You
whole
could do
TV Motherland is a programme for a
exactly.
reason,
It's
yeah.
the best programme ever.
So good.
So yeah, there was sports day coming up, and it was at the period of time when they started talking about sports day being non-competitive sports day.
Oh my God.
Now, not being sporty, I still think sports should be competitive. Like I was like, what is?
I was about to end the
What
show
is
then. I thought you was going to go the other way.
No,
I was
no,
like,
no.
I can't
was like, what's
stand
going
that.
on? But there was one particular parent whose daughter was highly academic, was an incredible swimmer, but didn't like running, didn't like being active in other ways. So her answer to that was, well, she doesn't go to school on sports day. And I was like, well, how is she ever going to learn to fail? She's so good at all these other things. And she's like, but she gets upset if she doesn't do well.
I mean, also,
Like, yeah,
she could have.
That's
she
life,
will.
right?
She could have
That's
been a
what
referee,
happened.
or she could have been a linesman or stuff. You know what I mean? They don't have to.
Exactly.
You don't have to compete
And
in all sports in every
It
guy's.
was quite a heated discussion between myself and this other mum, because I was like, but she's never going to learn how to fail. And then what's she going to do in life? Because she will.
100%.
She will fail
No
at
matter
some
how much
point.
you put a kid in a bubble, at some point life's going to chuck them a curveball,
You
right?
shouldn't put them in bubbles ever. Like I think you should always look after your kids, but in the end of the day, they have to fall over themselves. They have to fall off their bike. They have to.
Yeah, so
fail.
like, yeah, but in the politest
It's the
way.
only way we learn.
So I brought my kids up, including my daughter. So I've said I didn't do it because it was boys and girls. So like,
But you did treat them differently.
no,
You didn't treat them
no,
differently.
not in the not in this sense.
Okay.
Obviously, daughters and sons are
Yeah,
slightly
yeah,
different, but in the sense of like, it fell over, and 9 times out of 10 it'd be burning their eyes out, and I'm like, so what I kind of came up with my strategy was stand up, touch your nose, touch your ear,
Distraction.
and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
so like even
It's a reaction, isn't it?
there's a little boy called Noah, right?
Yeah.
And basically my girlfriend's son. So he thinks every time he hurts himself now, he puts himself, he goes, I'm all right. But that instantly stops because he knows he's
Because
going
you
to fall
know
over.
if you're hurt. I think kids know because
And
they're very
that's-
quiet. They go, I'm
They're
okay.
quiet, yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, you're not okay. No.
If you're saying you're okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, no, you're not okay, are you?
But he's learned that because he was afraid of many things, of like getting hurt himself and bits. If I've known him now, 2 years? He's a completely different boy. He can, run and climb. Being a typical boy, climbing, like if he was in here, I said, go on and climb that. Whereas before he'd be like, oh no, I might hurt myself. But he's learned from failures and hurting himself. Not saying no, he needs to be, all kids should hurt. But because he's learned, and no one put him in this, oh no, you can't, which most parents do, but like sports day, it might upset him. In a polite way, shut the fuck up. All kids are
There's gonna be a lot
you're
of
not
bleeps
going to
in
be
this
here
one, I tell
forever.
ya.
But no, in the sense of we're not here going to be there to protect them for the rest of their life, right? The world is a horrible place, and it can be very dangerous as well as very good and very. But you can't protect kids all the time, and if you allow, and this is my personal opinion. So before someone puts a comment in, we have created a generation of kids that are so like sports day. Everybody's a winner. Have a sticker.
I still don't think that's every school. I think it's just the ones that we hear
Name
about
me
them
one.
doing.
Name me one school that don't do that.
I didn't see it happen at High Down, and my nephew's there now. I honestly, I have to say, I don't think it's every school. I think it sounded out like it is every school, but I don't think it is. That element is. It's fine. You know, I used to coach football. It's fine sometimes to be like, my nephew came home and he was like, oh, I won an award today. I was like, what for? With like, best goal, best save? No. I was like, what? It's like, most helpful. I was like, to be honest, were you? He was like, yeah, really helpful. Did anyone else win? He went, nope, just me. I was like, fair. Yeah. So you can give awards for kind of things that you don't seem like first and second, third, for other things if they're the top of that. And I think that's we might be just thinking that, okay, that everyone gets a medal, but we still might be choosing first, second, third.
The thing is, and also, kids aren't stupid.
No.
But you said that before, but so one of the schools that they were at, or the school they were at, they had ability tables. And instead of saying like top table, middle table, bottom table, or 1, 2, 3, the teachers thought they'd be clever, and they did circles, triangles, squares. The kids worked out the squares were more complicated shapes, so they were the top table.
Right.
They're not stupid.
But they're also the squares, you know.
Yeah, the
so.
squares. Exactly. And I think the teacher was having a little bit of a joke with that. But, you know, that's...
Yeah.
They get it.
Yeah, but it's like...
Yeah, it's true. You can't really pull the wool over Charles' eyes. And in the end, and I've said this before, in life, cutting corners and going the easy way, that is the way that everyone goes. So it's really hard to make a difference in anything you're going to do in life. If you try and challenge yourself and do some of the roads that people are not doing because they're a bit harder, you actually will get more traction, learn more, and get further. Because there's less people in front of you.
Yeah. No, I get that. Because obviously now I'm going to start a new tradition. He's going to keep him on hot for a second. So every guest we're going to have on, I'm going to ask this question. Because obviously this question sparks a lot of...
Do you like Marmite? No, joking.
I can answer it, though.
Do you?
Go on,
I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Good.
Do you?
Well done, because otherwise you're getting out. Of course I love Marmite.
You like Marmite? Yeah.
Of course I love Marmite.
Okay. So
Well, I bet like Marmite, but yeah.
we all
But the question I'm going to ask every guest, is mental health curable?
No.
What makes you say no?
Because I think it's something you live with. And I think the term mental health covers such a broad spectrum of things. And we've all got, it's health. It's like physical health. We've all got physical health. We've all got mental health. We've all got emotional health. So it's just how you are and how you react with things and what life throws at you and how you deal with it. Obviously, you can go down the whole neurological disorder section, and that's a completely different ballgame. That's still classed as mental health.
Because that was what my argument was. That is, if you cure mental health, that means you're not having a good time. Because mental health is good, bad.
Mean?
Everything and anything.
What does it mean?
You can have good mental health, couldn't you? So, like...
The word mental health, or everyone automatically thinks a negative. And that's what
true.
I'm trying to say. That's why I wanted to ask that question.
It's not a disease that you're curing.
No.
It's life, isn't it?
It's just people.
Yeah, so that's in the politest way. So, right, so with mental health, why do you think then people come to do yours? Your therapy,
To do the treatments and things.
Yeah.
There's a whole mixed bag of reasons. So for some people, it's literally they need an hour out. They're very diary driven. So if they don't have an appointment in their diary, it's not going to happen. So otherwise, they'll be working, they'll be running the family, they'll be running around with kids, they'll be on the treadmill of.
This is my diary
Day.
right now. This is like of the month. Everything's there and like has to be organised.
Has to be organised. So yeah, I'm a bit like that. I even write dog walking. And I need to put that in. So they're very diary driven. So they'll be the people that actually they make that as a part of their schedule of self-care. They know they need time to switch off. It's the only time they're going to switch off. There'll be other people who are coming in for certain conditions. So it might be something like chronic fatigue, for example. I've worked with people with chronic fatigue and helped them get back on their feet and recover to a certain extent. But part of their recovery is learning new strategies that they'll learn with me to get them through to maybe get back to work. They may not have been in work for a while because of it.
So do you do kids with what you do then? Or?
I never used to, but recently I've started working with children, particularly with things like Asperger's and autism.
Okay.
And ADHD, because they're needing to, again, it's another time when they're needing time to switch off, but they haven't got the tools to do it. And 9 times out of 10, mama's just run so ragged that she hasn't got the space in her head to even think about it.
Exactly that, right?
So the children I do see, I always make sure the parent stays in with me because they're part of the safeguarding aspect. And some kids will just talk all the way through the treatment. Some of them, they stop and they actually stop moving, they stop talking. One mum actually says to me frequently, "Thank God you found the off switch again." No one else finds it.
You need to find mine, didn't you? Can we ask, where can people find you? You know, if they want to get in contact, they want your services, or just an idea of just like, can I come in for once? I don't know.
And I'm happy. I'm always happy to have like a chat on the phone with people as well beforehand. If they want to ask questions without any obligation, like I do free, give me a call.
Yeah.
So I have got a website, which is radiancetherapy.co.uk. I am on Instagram, again, radiance_therapy. So I have a closed Facebook page where people who have been clients or who potentially want to be clients get involved in just lifestyle questions, and just I ask them questions on there, what are they doing for their self-care this week, or for the next 5 weeks. We're 5 weeks till spring. We're on a build up to it.
Change those clocks, come on.
Change the clocks, getting out and about again, get out of hibernation mode. So at the moment I'm doing a rundown of 5 weeks through spring on there. So yeah, you can contact me loads of different ways.
Obviously, that's where
just Google it, you'll find me.
Well, make sure it's in the links below. I have a question. You have a question, which is quite nice, but I have a question as well. And I want you to answer. I want Alex to answer as well. And we're going to make sure we have this down every single time, and people can do it at home as well. Mental health wise, if it was out of 10, 10 being pretty out of this world, feeling great, and 1 being pretty not good. Nice explanation there. Where would you put yourself right now today?
Right now today, probably about an 8.
8? Scott, where are you?
Today?
Yeah.
I would have... No, I've had quite a good day today. I'm in one of them weird moods, so I'd probably say a 10 out of 10 today.
10 out of 10? Wow.
Yeah, they're not often, but they happen.
You're so extreme, aren't you? Alex, where are you going? Because we've got an 8 here, we've got a 10 here. What are you saying?
I'm about an 8 or a 9.
8 or 9.
Things are fine. I'm not ecstatic, but I'm also, not in a bad place. So
I feel like you're both not leaving yourself that many places to go, but it's fine. I'm going to say a nice healthy 7. But yeah,
why 7?
Because I feel like there's places for me to go. Right now, I'm sat talking to lovely people, having a good time. It's nice, chilled. But I've got things to do. I've got things going on. I've got loads of work coming up. I've got this. So I'm thinking about other things. I'm thinking about how I'm going to get there, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to be. I'm a little bit ill at the moment, so I've got a bit of a cold, so I'm like, okay, am I going to be well enough? So it gives me places to go. I don't like to be too at the top, because I feel, for me, if you feel great being at the top, great. But for me, I feel like I'm quite happy being in that 6, 7 kind of category. So when those things that go and they're amazing, cool. But then if it drops too far down, I'm only dropping down from a 7 or 6 to a 4 instead of dropping from 10 to 4, because I think for me that would sort of not be good.
See. Right, with my PTSD, I could be a 10 right now, and in an hour's time, I could be a 1.
Yeah, so yeah.
Easily.
And I don't know
what happens when I leave this room.
Yeah, I know that you do. So, and there's other stresses and stuff like that. You've got kids. You could have a great day, but they have the worst day that brings your number down a little bit. But it's interesting to see. So I would like to see when you come back again on the channel. It'd be lovely to have you. See if you're still at an 8. If you're still at 10, or you could be at 0. And where Alex is, which is a 9, just smashing it. But yeah, it's so lovely to have guests. It's so lovely to reach out to other people. And Scott just gets these wonderful people in to tell us their stories and stuff like that, and we'd love to have you back again. And actually, I'd love to come in and you can do a therapy on me, because
I think that should happen.
I think both of you should as well. I think you should as well.
Do you know what?
He's going to go straight for me. What are you saying about me? Go on.
No, I because obviously you said at the very beginning, people are like, you spoke to friends. I do get it in the sense of, until you've had it done. I've obviously, my hip in Planks Way before that. In Planks Way, before I had mental health, I was like, fuck off, they're just twats. That's just an easy way out, right? But it's not until you go through it or have it done. But I've had that.
That would
my
be
hip
called
thing,
uneducated guess. What you
yeah. It was what everyone. But in the sense of, it was the only reason I would love to have it go again, because I've got my hips again. So yeah, I'd love to have a go. But I think you're a bit sceptical, aren't you?
It's not that I'm skeptical. It's just like I would need it for when I need it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I believe in therapy, but I don't believe in just going for therapy when you might not need it. Because
It's one
it
of the
might
things
open
I
too
say
many
to people
Pandora's
as well.
boxes for me.
I also say to people when they come to me for treatments, it's like, if you're coming for a program, have 3 treatments, and I do them quite condensed in the first 3, so that it's like one every week or one every other week. If you get to 6 treatments, I want to see a change by 3 treatments. I want to see you feeling something different.
Yeah.
You know, it might not be you've got this massive revelation, but I want to feel something different. By 6 treatments, if that's not happening, it's probably not the therapy for you.
Yeah, and that's fine, but at least you tried.
Because I don't want anybody to get into this cycle where you get with some physios are probably amongst the worst for it, where you're going every month without fail for 10 years and nothing's
changed. Like talking therapy, when I did that didn't work
on?
for me. That just wasn't the therapy. Also, the other thing that I found with it all depends on the person that's doing the treatment.
Definitely.
Whether because like certain therapists, I'm like, no, you just, no, I don't know, I suppose you've got to have that bit of a connection as well, haven't you?
Yeah, and
you've got to trust.
I am the worst to have any therapy because I'm very, very critical of what they're doing and how they're doing it.
Yeah, but you know too much. That's why
I know
you're not
far
you're
too
not going
much.
in there with an open mind. You're going in there like that's
She
not
knows
how I
what's
do it.
behind the
That's
curtain.
wrong. I did that wrong 4 years ago, so don't do that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But I do go because I like to get ideas from people as well. It's good to look at what your peers are doing and to see how people are working. Because sometimes I come away going, "Oh my god, that was amazing! I've never thought of that."
Yes, you're learning at the same
So
time,
you're
right?
learning from other people.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being a wonderful guest. And like I said, I love it when we have people in because normally it's just us 2 chatting, and it's just it's the
not
same.
me
old
chatting,
same, right?
it's him just
It's me
talking-
chatting. Is it
talking
really? It's
to
fine.
me.
Hey, you love it though.
Yeah.
Episode 40. We're
Yeah.
doing well.
We are doing very well. We're
Sorry,
at
it's
100.
episode 39.
No, is it really?
It's actually
Told
episode
you,
39.
Oh no.
Well done, Alex, mate. At
The
least
party
you were
popper's
here.
out. Yeah, it's fine. We should have asked at the beginning.
I've just taken a pin
episode-
to your balloon there.
No,
and
episode 40 next week.
We'll get the confetti cannon.
No,
hang
no,
on,
we're
hang
no
on, hang
confetti
on.
cannon until 100.
No, what made you say 39?
Yeah, what made you say 39? Are you
on the YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, well, if we went on YouTube channel.
Yeah, no, because the next 39's.
Oh yeah,
So this you
so
were
this
right.
is 40.
Oh, my
Because the
apologies.
39 wasn't out at the time.
It comes out this week.
It comes out this way.
39,
Yeah,
it
we're always
There
a
you
week
go.
behind. Oh,
about that.
see, it's fine. Don't worry, Alex. It's fine. We forgive you.
Oh.
If you want to get in contact with Sarah, all the details will be below. And if you want to be a guest as well on here, all you have to do is leave a comment, and they can come be a guest.
Yeah, so because obviously what we're going to do is going to have a review on our treatment and give us our on. I think that would be a good one, and
like
then we
that.
can actually come back and
That'd
say,
be good.
Yeah,
because I'm quite up for this.
I'm in for it.
Because I just, as long as you got your cup of tea while you're having your massage.
Oh yeah, I got a cup today. I got a branded cup today. So,
Ah,
see
touche.
that. Hey, bro. Yeah. Well, we haven't brought
That's
our
his
cups.
own little podcast.
Where's our cups? Come on, and our jumpers and
where's
Budget
t-shirts.
obviously went on yours.
Where's your merch? You need your merch out.
I normally wear a t-shirt and bits and pieces, but I put a bit of weight on over Christmas.
Oh, that's all. I'm here to give you a little bit of help, so it's fine.
No, last time you bought food in, you threw it in my face.
What was the food?
The cake, when I told you it was undercooked.
No, it was burnt.
Burnt. Oh yeah, sorry, burnt.
But did it taste banging?
It was good once
Yeah.
it took. Yeah.
Yeah, don't start. It wasn't burnt. It was a lemon drizzle cake, and it was soggy. So you put it upside down, so it's
Yeah.
all wet, so it looks browner than it was. So it actually wasn't burnt.
It tastes good though. I'll give him 10 out of 10 on taste. It just was
Whatever. Anyway, we will see you next time on episode 41.
41 and 110 subscribers. So please, guys, come on, subscribe. Let's build up the numbers. Let's get the word out there so everybody can have a little bit of something. There's always a bit of something that you can take away from any one of our podcasts. It may not be the whole thing with him talking, but obviously when it comes to me, guaranteed to have the right points for you.
And Scott would like to say, it is what it is. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.